I come to visit you today and I give you a gift and I give it to you in a Tiffany box, in your mind, the gift I would have given you would have a higher perceived value than if I gave it to you in no box or a box of less prestige.
Michael Levine has been called the Michael Jordan of entertainment PR. Clients of his Levine Communications have included celebrities such as Prince, Cameron Diaz, and Ozzy Osbourne, companies such as Nike, Sharp, and Pizza Hut. He is the author of 18 books, many bestsellers, including the seminal Guerrilla PR. Michael Levine, welcome to Dog and Pony.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure to have you here. The first segment we do is something called Once Around the Track.
Once Around the Track.
I ask you
I like the title.
Some rapid-fire questions over about 30-second period.
Okay.
Can you give me some quick answers?
Just quick impressions.
You ready for me to go?
Yes, sir.
Where did you grow up?
New York City.
What was your first job?
I have never had a job in a traditional sense. I went to college for 6 months and quit, and so I've been self-employed since I was 18.
Who's your business hero?
I would think Howard Schultz from Starbucks would be in that top group.
How many employees have Levine Communications?
I think we have 13 full-time right now.
What's your biggest challenge?
The greatest challenge that people have today in running a business, I've found, it's the same challenge I have, is identifying, recruiting, and keeping great people.
Do you make the rules or do you break the rules?
I think I break them more than make them now.
Are you obsessive or are you a procrastinator?
No, I'm obsessive.
How many hours a week do you work?
Probably about 80.
Congratulations, Michael. You've made it once around the track. Michael, what's the worst PR crisis you've ever dealt with?
Well, I would think in terms of international scope, I represented Michael Jackson during the first molestation incident. So probably if I had to identify one for international reasons, that would probably be likely it.
Were you prepared for something like that? Or how do you prepare for something like that?
Well, the first part of your question is, was I prepared? No. And the second part was, I don't think anyone's prepared. You know, we are in uncharted waters with media today, and I think that in some part began with the Michael Jackson first molestation incident.
So what advice do you give to executives that face those type of crises?
4 rules generally for success in dealing with crisis are speed, humility, personal responsibility, and contrition. So if you act quickly, if you act humbly, if you act with personal responsibility and contrition, you're generally going to be all right. If, on the other hand, you do the opposite, slow, arrogant, belittle and blame others, and take no responsibility, you're going to have a hard time.
Your most famous book is Guerrilla PR.
Indeed.
Are you saying that PR is war?
Well, I think there are a lot of metaphors for what PR is. The most famous metaphor that I created was gift wrapping. I do think that there is some relationship with war. Probably one of the similarities to war is that there are only 2 speeds, fast and dead. But the most famous metaphor that I created was something called the Tiffany theory, and the top 25 business schools in America all teach it, and it just simply says that if I come to visit you today and I give you a gift and I give it to you in a Tiffany box, in your mind, the gift I would have given you would have a higher perceived value than if I gave it to you in no box or a box of less prestige. Now, the reason that's true is not because you're a psychological fool, but because you and I and everyone watching this show right now live in a culture in which we gift wrap everything. And so we gift wrap our politicians and our corporate heads and our movie and TV stars and even our toilet paper.
How do you answer the people who feel that the whole practice of PR is really less about the truth and more about spin?
First of all, I acknowledge, I can understand why people might feel that way at a cursory glance, that, you know, that public relations is largely a manipulative act. But I would ask someone who asserted that, I would ask them how they would, if they were going on their most important job interview of their life, how would they dress? Almost always they would say they would dress very well. And then I asked them if they got the job 6 months later, how would they dress? And they said, well, I don't know, probably less well. And I asked them then if on that job interview were they being engaged in an act of manipulation.
What's the secret of good public relations?
One of the secrets is to be able to see the world as it really is and see your brand and your product with all its positives and all its negatives. And so I think that we must begin our journey with a kind of brutal honesty. And that's often a painful process. So I think that's the journey. The journey begins there, with a kind of radical honesty.
All right, Michael, in this next segment called None of Your Business,
None of my business,
I'm going to ask you some questions.
Yes, sir.
Several of them could be a little impolite. You can either answer them or say none of your business. Who's the craziest person in Hollywood?
I don't know. There's a lot of competition for that one.
Have you ever been stiffed by a famous client?
Yes.
Bad reviews, do they matter?
Believing bad reviews is dangerous, but more dangerous is believing good reviews.
Who's the famous client who stiffed you?
We ultimately got the money in the end, but it was difficult to do, and they were very wealthy.
And when the check came, whose name was on it?
None of your business.
Well, Michael Levine, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you here
Thank
today.
you. I'm really excited about seeing it, and good luck to you.
Michael, is there anything you'd like to promote?
Well, I have a new book out called Never, and it's a book about how to have a happy, healthy life, successful life, by what you don't do.
Well, thank you, Michael Levine. It's been a pleasure having you on Dog and Pony. If you have questions or comments, please send them to me, as well as your suggestion for guests. I'm Vince Thompson. My email address is vince@dogandpony.com. Thank you.